In this video, I will paint this adorable little piglet, but I don't want to use the colors that are in the photo. I want to expand my palette and make him more colorful, a lot more colorful. I'm going to use almost every color in my box except the earth tones. So here you see my palette that I'm going to use. So a couple of yellows, some pinks and some oranges for warm tones. I definitely want to use some purples. They're my favorite. Can't paint without them. And for cool tones, let's use a couple of blues. Cascade green is a nice cool green. I really like it. And of course, mineral violet. That's another favorite that I use in almost every painting. So let's get started and see if this colorful palette will work for this painting. I'm going to start with a quick pencil sketch. I'm using 2B pencil, not super soft. I don't want heavy pencil lines. And I'm using 300-pound Arches watercolor paper cold press. It's very heavy. You don't have to stretch it. It usually maintains its shape, but I still pin it to my foam board just to keep it in place when I paint. Using thicker paper allows me to use more pigment and get really saturated bright colors on the first go. I don't have to glaze many times to achieve the brightness that I want. So this will be a really quick painting, just a couple layers of paint and we should be done. So I'm going to start with pretty saturated but not super bright wash to get my light tones, and I'm just picking up random colors from that palette that I figured out, and I'm trying to get them kind of nicely distributed all over my subject. And because I started painting wet into wet, all the colors run together and I get that fuzzy look, which is good because the piglet has some fuzz around it. And also, you know, the pig is rounded, so the edges are all very soft, and having wet paper allows me to have soft edges. Okay, the first layer dried. Now let's go more intense. This is the fun part. I'm going to really go for it with a lot of pigment, smaller brush, and I'm starting to work on the details, and I'm going to kind of imitate the bristles on the pig, give it some texture, and I'm going to use darker pigments like blues and greens and my mineral violet for his spots. And again, I'm just randomly placing colors, trying to vary them. But the main thing I'm looking for is tonal relationships. So I'm trying to make the color as light or as dark as it is in the photo, regardless of the actual hue that I see in the photograph. And I don't want him kind of hanging in the white space, so I'm going to throw in a little background. Again, I'm going to try to make it very loose and kind of watercolory, so I'm spraying from my bottle to make the colors run together. And I'm making that background. I'm using diluted colors because I don't want it to overwhelm the pig. I want him to be the main character and the background to be much lighter than the pig. And the last thing I need to do, because I didn't use any masking, I need to restore my highlights. And for that, I'm using Daniel Smith's watercolor ground. It's white, opaque white. I want to test it and see if it works better than white gouache that I usually use. With gouache, if you put it on a damp surface, it's sometimes harder to achieve pure white. Maybe watercolor ground will work better for that. So small brush and just a little bit of that watercolor ground and a few highlights. And here he is, my very colorful watercolor pig. I teach online classes. More information on tammyrup.com. Let's get connected on social media where I post new art, information about new classes and videos. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time in Tammy Rup Studio.